I need to clean the carburetors on my 1978 CB750. There are 4 carburetors in here, and I need to pull them out so I can take them apart and clean them. The first thing I need to do is remove the tank. I took off the seat and the side covers, and then I need to disconnect this fuel line. It has a little fuel filter in here, and that hose was on there real tight. So tight, it broke right in half. So I'm gonna get a new one of those. Whoops. Sometimes there's a bolt back here that holds that in. Not mine. Just uses the gravity method. Pull it back. What's the hang up? All right, up and back. There we go. My gas tank. It's off. Now where am I gonna put it? Maybe over here. I zip tied a paper towel onto this hose because I don't want gasoline dripping out everywhere. I'm gonna loosen up some of these screws that are holding it on. I'm gonna feel it in the back, get it as loose as I can get it before that screw pops out. I'll also go ahead and loosen up the screws that hold it onto the engine. I'm gonna take this bolt out here so I can remove my air box. There we go. Now that this all has some play and it can move around, I'm gonna look at anywhere this is connected. So I'm looking at this line here that goes to the battery. And I'm gonna get a good video of where those are so that I can remember how it connects back. If I forget how that connects, I can come back and look at it. It's always good to take a little video or a photograph of what you're disconnecting here and here. Anytime you're dealing with electric, always disconnect your battery first so that you don't shock yourself. It's got a zip tie up here holding this hose there. I'll go ahead and take that off. That wire goes into what right here looks like a pressure sensor that's going to make sure that there's airflow. If there's not, it'll shut the engine off. It'll just kill the electricity to the bike. There's a hose on the bottom of it that I'm going to disconnect that goes to this air box. There's also a hose that is labeled carb, which is nice, that connects to the carburetor right there. I'm going to pull that out as well. And it has one more hose connected out of the top of it that goes right there. Oop. Now I can take this whole thing out. And I have videos of where all of these hoses go. It's nice that the one that goes to the carburetor is labeled. Now let's see if I can get this air box to disconnect. If I pull it back, I should be able to get it to disconnect from the carburetor. Nice. It'd be great if I could get it to slip out. That would be cool. We'll see. I don't know if I can. At least slip out of the way. I don't want to damage where it connects. Maybe if I could just get the carburetor to come up over the top of it. I'm just rotating it up. That gives me a little bit more space to play up here. Go ahead and take this bracket off to give myself a little bit more space to get to that choke and the throttle cables. I have a 10mm deep socket, but my 10mm short socket is missing. So I grabbed another set of sockets that I keep in my truck, and it goes 6, 7, 8, 9, a quarter. Where's the 10? It only has a deep socket in 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then little for the big one. Okay, but I found a little 10mm socket, and this has an adapter, so I can make that work. Ta-da! It's a little shorter. If it was any longer, I would be screwed. All right, I got that bracket out. Now I have more space in here. I stuck a little plastic pot in here so it can't fall down and bang on this. I don't want to damage any of this. Now I can get to, this is where the choke comes in. I'm going to push that through there with a screwdriver. Get it to go out the other side. There we go. Now I'm going to try to slip that off of there in a way that you can see it. Oh, did I get it? Oh, so close. There we go. Now for the throttle, I'm going to take my screwdriver, try to move that line up and out of the way, and then I should be able to get it to go through one side. Can get in with some needle nose pliers and maybe get that to, come on, let go. come to the side. You're so close. Oh, you look at, oh, there we go. Woohoo! For the other side of that cable, I can just push right here, and it almost comes out on its own. I was able to wiggle that air box over to the side. If I can get that out, that'll make the rest of this so much easier. Do I want to have an air box? Maybe I don't. Ooh, I want to try not to hurt these rubber gaskets. There we go. No more air box. So much easier. So now I can see on this how the choke cuts air off from going in there. Now I should be able to take this off. It's still attached. I'm gonna, crap, I don't have anything to set it on. I put some cloths down here to try to hold it in place, try to keep it from getting damaged. Great. Now I can really get to these cables up here to detach them completely. All right, I disconnected those from the bracket, and this should just come right out. Ah, beautiful. Love it. These adapters have some substantial cracks in them, so I think I might need to replace them. But I'm going to worry about that tomorrow. But what I will do right now is take some shop cloth and shove it in these holes, because I don't want any dust or anything getting in there, because that's my engine. So these are my carburetors, and they look really good from what I can see so far. I'm pretty happy with how these look. The previous owner took really good care of this motorcycle, and I actually have record of the last time the carburetors were cleaned, and it was 6 years ago. For being 46 years old, I'm very happy with how these carburetors look. I'm gonna clean and take apart the carburetor for my CB750A. I've never done this before. I do have my friend here with me. This is Danny, and she's a mechanic, but she's also never worked on a motorcycle carburetor. So we're gonna wing it together. And then shine it in there. That's better.
Oh, that is much better.
I numbered some cups so that I have my 4 carburetors, and I could have parts for each carburetor in each cup.
Here, but you can do this.
Okay.
And these look like deep 10s, if you have a deep 10 millimeter.
I do have a deep 10. That is the only 10 I have. All right, so we got this faceplate off, we got this pump off. We're trying to figure out how to separate them. Lost a washer in there.
Oh, shit. Yep. I see that now. How you did that. How you lost that.
Oh, I know. I got mine out. There we go. Oh, the whole... Oh. Okay.
Do I win?
Do you win? Well, you got the long straw? Sure, you win. There we go.
Oh, gosh.
Really tight.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'll have to replace all of them anyway.
Nah. They're fine.
Unacceptable. Well, I mean, they don't seem to be different, so I think as far as length goes here. Oh, I like
They're different.
Oh, give me that. We need a, Sharpie.
Why am I righty tighty?
I don't know. I was just...
Well, I made it tighter.
Sharpie.
Why is this one falling out?
Oh, I kind of... It's okay.
I mean, we can take it out. It does look cool.
It's like a little gut.
Don't do that. I'm meaning to man spread on you there.
Man spread?
You've never heard the term man
I've
spread?
Never heard of
You've
man
never
spread.
heard the term
but
man
my
spread?
brain just went not great. Oh, is it like just like sprawling out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where'd this spring come from?
Who's it? Say what's it?
It's a benefit to replace all the rubbers.
I say yes.
Don't use old rubbers. So we have the 4 carburetors taken apart, and then all of the parts to them are right here. My next step is to take these parts, and I'm putting them in here. This is an ultrasonic cleaner with Simple Green. and that should get them nice and clean. These are so much cleaner than I ever would have imagined that they would be, but we did have to clean them a little bit. See, the bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner is full of gunk that came out of the carburetors. I decided to let them sit overnight so that any cleaner or gasoline that's in them can evaporate out so that they are clean, they're dry, ready to put back together. Taking things apart is pretty easy. You just find all the screws and bolts, take them out, and then pull it all apart. But putting it back together is only easy if you were very organized in the way you took them apart. So I have everything here. These are in order 1, 2, 3, 4. My carburetors are here. All of their parts are already labeled. That's number 3, that's number 4. And so that is easy to keep together. Everything here, I have all of the screws and bolts for this are right next to it. The bolts for this are inside it there. The parts for this are laid out in order. Everything is very clean and connected. These are the screws that go with the first carburetor. They are in order, they are labeled. And then these are the new parts, the replacement gaskets, the things that I'm going to be replacing out of here that I'm not using the old parts. I'm going to start with carburetor number 2 because it's the most complicated. You can see it's different than all of the other carburetors. It's the one where the throttle and the choke and everything attaches to. I'm going to do this one first because the rest of them are going to be a lot simpler. And the part that goes on the top of it, you can see it has this extra little section here. And my rebuild kit has a part that goes in there and it fits into those grooves. This is like a little gasket, and it also deals with air pressure that it can move. And then this screws on top of it here. There are also parts for my rebuild kit. This is a float. I'm not sure what this little piece is, but I know where it goes. I guess I don't need to know what it does. I could probably Google it, but that goes onto the float. It kind of hooks over this little middle part here. So I'll hook that on there. That little piece goes into this hole right there. And then I have this little rod that goes through that hinge. It's a little hinge pin through to the other side. And then that's my little float. I was editing the recording of this video and I realized that I put all of these floats in upside down. That's better. Also in my rebuild kit, there's a part that looks like this. It's like a brass screw top and it goes inside a spring. And that screws in somewhere. Looks like it screws in right here. So there's this hole there and I can screw that in there. I think it was just finger tight last time. I'm not sure what that adjusts. I'll Google that later. The tops of all 4 are gonna be built the same, like that. I figured out what that little thing that goes in there is. So this float, as it comes up, it pushes that little button, that little thing that we put in there, and that cuts off gasoline from coming in. So it makes sure that the gasoline is at that height, and once it goes up, it cuts that gasoline. So that makes it so that this bowl is only partially full of gasoline at any given time. But if it messes up and this starts to fill with gasoline, that gasoline will just pour out the bottom here. This goes to a hose that just goes away from the bike. Before I put these on, they need a rubber gasket that looks like this. It has a little slot that it slides into. But before I even do that, I'm gonna put a little bit of grease in this slot. That's not something you have to do. It's something that I'm gonna do. People debate about it. You can read about what other people say about it online if you want. I'm gonna do that. I'm just taking a little bit of this red bearing grease and I'm gonna put it into that channel. And I'm gonna take the clean side and I'm gonna wipe off any excess grease that might be on here. I especially don't want anything inside this bowl because that's all gonna make its way into my engine and get it all gummy. Just have a tiny little bit of grease in there. I think it looks good, and I'm gonna now put this in place. And just the second carburetor has another little circle gasket that goes right there. So I'll put that as well. And then this goes on here, but again, this second carburetor has an extra piece. It's a little rubber piece. It's hard to see, but it goes right in there. I have everything lined up. That rod is going through there where it should. And what's the holdup? go. And then this is held on with 3 screws that go here on the top. I was looking over my parts and I noticed this spring and I'm like, I don't know where that spring goes. I know where everything else in this more or less goes, but this spring, I'm not sure. And I thought before I get too far into this, I'm gonna look and make sure it doesn't go in that second carburetor somewhere, because there's only one of them, so it has to be in that second carburetor. I couldn't find it in any of our pictures, so I did get out the carburetor section of the manual and I found it. I found where it goes. It goes in the accelerator pump. Oops. That's that little pump piece that I put through here that looks like this. Luckily, I should be able to get to it from the outside and put that spring in there. That spring goes right here. And then this goes over the top of it and is screwed down. It's much better to figure that out now than to get done with the whole thing and be like, what's this extra spring? What does it do? Carburetor number 4 has this extra little thing sticking off of it. This big giant bolt goes in that. So I don't know exactly what it does without the whole thing assembled to look at it, but that's where it goes. So now I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 assembled. Now I need to start the process of putting them together. To do that, I have these little link spacers that go between them, and I replaced the rubber gaskets on either side. I also labeled them with a number. This is 1 and 2, so I know that 1 goes here, and that connects it to 2 right here. And that gets those evenly spaced. I'm also going to connect 3 and 4. Nice. These little gas lines that let gas flow between the carburetors are pretty shot. They're discolored, some of them are cracked. So I have some gas line here that are about the same thickness, a larger one and a smaller one, and those are gonna link between the carburetors. So with those and with this, I should be able to line everything up and push them together. And I need that to go all the way on up there. There we go. And start putting these articulated finger needles back in. This is actually a plunger, and when this goes up, down here, it allows gasoline to come in, and opening it up allows more air to come in, and that makes our gas and air mixture that goes into the engine. So I'm gonna put that into the first carburetor, and I can see through the hole where that needle is coming, and I'm gonna put my finger in here and kind of direct it into the hole it needs to go into. And then that sits in there like that. Just like with everything in the carburetor, the one that goes in number 2 looks different. This one is not adjustable. You cannot adjust number 2. It's like the master cylinders. You can't really change the air to gasoline mixture on number 2. You can change it on all of the other ones. So when you're tuning these carburetors, you tune them all to be the same as number 2. So I can see in here how this opens and closes when that goes up and down. And as I work on machines, it's very weird for me to have metal against metal with no lubrication. This lubricates itself with gasoline. When you pull the throttle, it goes open. When you close the throttle, it goes down. So these don't move super fast. This rod that goes between them, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some grease to that. This doesn't go into the area where the gasoline is, or where the air is flowing through, where everything's gonna go into the engine. So I don't have to worry as much about this grease getting into the engine. So this little chunk here, this thing here, that goes between numbers 3 and 4. So I'm first gonna put 4 on here, and I need that to go through this little finger plunger thing until I see it lined up. There's a hole that goes through there, and I'm gonna put a screw all the way through. That screw looks like this, where there's some space before the threading starts. After that's on there, this swing arm goes on, and that'll go all the way over to there, right there. Then I can attach carburetor number 3 to that. The next thing to go on there is this. This is what controls the throttle. It has a cable that comes right here and here that can move that back and forth. Make sure it has this little spring on there, and there's a little vinyl washer that goes right there. Make sure it's not missing either of those things. And then that goes on next. And that goes on with an Allen wrench. There's a little divot here that it screws down into. I'm gonna really crank that one down. And then it has a 10mm nut that goes on top of that. I now know what this bolt is. It looks like that sets the idle. So you don't want this to be able to close all the way. You can see that there's still some light that comes through there when it's closed. That is the idle speed, how much air goes through there. If I move this one way or the other way, it can make it so that more air or less air goes when it's idling, which will raise or lower the number of RPMs that it idles at. Now I'm going to take the rod that the choke plates for number 3 and 4 attach to, and that's going to go through here. Now I can do the same thing for 3 and 4 with this, but I'm going to make sure that it has this little spring through there before I put it on. Otherwise I'm going to have to take it out again. Yeah, and that's on there, right. Okay. So that goes through here. This is 3 and 4. There we go. And this little spring hooks right there. And then, now that both of those choke plate pieces are in there, I can go ahead and attach these together. Make sure it goes through there. Make sure it goes through there. Oh, wait. All right, so I need to be at this on that side of here. Now it's all lined up. These hoses are connected. I do need to attach this spring here. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. This little spring in here that needs to be connected, I'm going to go ahead and connect that. It's like doing surgery. Okay, it's nothing like doing surgery. So that connects to right there. Now when I pull this, oh, it does nothing. Why does it do nothing? That should turn this. It took some finagling, but I finally got it together. To get everything lined up, I had to put this plate on. It's not screwed on, it's just on there. It gets all of these lined up where they should be. And once I have that done, I can take this spring here. That connects there. And then that goes to right there. And that makes it so that when I pull the throttle, it pulls it back. So the throttle opens them and it closes on its own. I also have where the choke turns these and then it springs back. All of the hoses are connected. Everything is pretty well lined up. To get the choke plate back on, I'm gonna take some rubber bands, double them over. There it's gonna stay. And then I can line these up and put my choke plates in there. To get the choke plates in, I used a magnet that could hold them in there and then screwed them in. I lost some of the video because my phone ran out of storage, but each of these tops on here has a paper gasket in it that fits under these 2 screws. And this vacuum pump is held on by these 2 nuts that go on those bolts that were sticking out here, and it's attached to that swing arm way down in there with a clip that you just have to mess around with until you get it. And the last thing I put on was 4 bolts onto this bracket here. And now it's done. I can test it real quick. Those open and close, and the throttle opens and closes those. And before the throttle was kind of sticky, it wouldn't pop back like this. Now it's popping back really nice. So I think this is actually gonna run better. Even though it was pretty clean when I took it off, it's definitely cleaner now. Most importantly, there's not any extra bolts or anything sitting around anywhere. Wait, there is one. Now there's no extra bolts or nuts sitting around. I got my carburetor on my bike clean, back in the engine. Everything is as it should be. Let's see how it runs. Ran out of gas. I got the tank back on and the seat back on. Everything's put back together.